Hello angels, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my experience taking part in a casual plant dieta with Rose, the beautiful flower that is Rose. So before getting into this video, I'm like extra excited to be talking about this, to be sharing this with you for a couple of reasons. One is because I'm actually in Iquitos, Peru at the time of filming this video, and I'm actually going to be heading out into the jungle, going offline for 2 weeks to do a traditional plant dieta with Bobinsana, which is the Amazon's heart opener. So I'm definitely going to be sharing about that experience on this channel as well, and I'm really looking forward to the gifts, the wisdom, the insights, everything that integrates from that experience. But yeah, it's very exciting for me to talk about this because, as you guys probably know, I love the plants. I love the plants so much, and they've given me so many beautiful gifts. And Rose herself and this recent experience that I've had in taking part in a casual dieta has just been the gift that keeps on giving. It's really helped me to heal matters of the heart, open my heart to greater levels, and I'm excited to share this with you because it is incredibly easy to do. And I've actually been working on developing a course that's finally ready for you called Opening Your Heart with Rose. This is a 5-module course. It's a DIY course which will guide you through your very own dieta with Rose, and I go into all the different details about it, what you will need. I offer you support and emotional release, specifically of how to release stuck and stored stagnant emotions from the body, because the entire plant dieta experience and the dieta with Rose for me healed matters of the heart. So it really showed me where there were layers of stuck and stored stagnant energy or trauma in my body that needed to be released in order to create a greater space for unconditional love for myself and in my life, and to really open my heart in new ways. So there's embodiment practices for that, and there's also EFT tapping video in there as a bonus for you. I talk all about opening the portal with Rose as a guided meditation. Basically everything that you need besides Rose herself and the supplies that are in there to take part in a dieta is inside of that course for you. So I've made it super accessible to everyone because I just feel like the world needs more plants, needs to come back to nature in new ways. So the link is down below, and yeah, I really hope that you consider taking part in your very own plant dieta, because Rose especially is incredibly accessible to us, as in we see it in the grocery stores. Most of us probably have used a Rose product at some point or another in our life. I know for me personally, Rose started making her way to me a long period of time, years. I've always had a fondness for roses, but specifically I would say 6 months or so leading up to this dieta is when it really started to present itself. Rose was really coming in hot. She was trying to get my attention, and the way in which she did this was through an abundance of beautiful synchronicities. As always, the universe is communicating with us, and synchronicities is one of those languages. So for me, these synchronicities, I would say, as they got louder and louder and louder, it looked like people literally giving me roses or giving me gifts, or like that were products, let's say, that had roses in it. And then I met my amazing friend Ayla, and she guided me into my own Rose Dieta. And what was really great was that she really inspired me to just go for it, to just start it. And as soon as I decided to, as soon as I committed to it, all of the products, I was in Tulum, Mexico at the time, all of the products that I needed to get started on my dieta found their way to me. As in, I was scootering past a shop, they had a sign that said Hape, cacao. It was a zero waste shop in Tulum, and I was like, hey, that store is drawing me in. So I went there, and they ended up having the supplies that I needed to get started in the dieta. So picked all of that up in one day, and then I got started shortly after that, and it was a beautiful experience. So what is a plant dieta? Let me go there next. As in, maybe I should have started there, but I think those of you who are tuning in probably have some type of idea. The simplest way that I can phrase this for you or frame it for you, it's like we are energetic beings, of course, and in taking part in a plant dieta, you're essentially inviting that consciousness of that plant and its gifts, its wisdom, everything that it has to offer you, its healing, into your energy field to integrate, to show you the way, to heal. And another way of perhaps even phrasing that is like getting the rose codes, right? So if life is a video game and we're going about this journey and we're unlocking ourselves and getting the codes, Rose has an abundance of beautiful codes for us. And Rose itself, if we think about the visual of a rose, I mean, incredibly beautiful and incredibly divine in nature, but Rose also has her thorns. So that in itself, we've got the divine beauty, right? Seeing the radiance, and especially because Rose herself is about unconditional love and inner beauty, healing the heart space. And then we've got the vine with the thorns, that is discernment, healthy boundaries, integrating new levels of what I would call inner fortress energy. And so let me tell you, the rose codes have been downloaded and I'm feeling all kinds of new radiance about myself and my life. And Rose really taught me how to love myself more, like love myself unconditionally. So in regards to opening the dieta and closing the dieta, it's a very sacred ceremonial experience to have with yourself. And like I said, Rose products, they're incredibly accessible to us. So this is something that anyone can do who feels the call to Rose, right? If Rose has been making her way to you, just like I kind of expressed Rose has been making her, or was making her way to me through all these beautiful synchronicities, like consider that a sign from the universe that this could be a really great opportunity for you to move into a space and time that is a sacred ceremony with the self, learning from Rose, integrating beautiful lessons and healing and wisdom from nature in this way, deepening your connection to nature and the divine, and really opening yourself up to see what might actually be inhibiting you in your life, holding you back, or keeping that heart closed. And when it comes to living life with a closed heart versus an open heart, living life with an open heart is the most beautiful, potent, magnetic energy that we can have, right? We know how it feels when we're in love, right? Like we just are loving life, it's all good, we're in the present moment. The ability to live life with an open heart is just to be in love with life and reality for what it is. And we might notice that when we have a closed heart, myself personally, I feel very contracted. I feel like lost in self-doubt or just not feeling energetic. And one story time I feel called to share here with you is from Michael Singer and from An Untethered Soul. And he talks about, you know, like we all, whether we're aware of it or not, we're all striving to have an open heart. And the energies and the emotions and things that might arise from the experiences that we've had, they're arising in order to pass away, right? They're arising to come up and out. But oftentimes as humans, when our emotions make their way to our heart space, like when we feel emotions in our chest, and you might feel it as like tension or anxiety or a contracting energy, most of the time as humans, we feel like, oh my gosh, something is wrong. And then in that, whether we're aware of it or not fully, we suppress those emotions in the body. And those emotions, because like they got up to our heart space, they're kind of like locked in there. And what I found through my Dieta experience with Rose was that all of these emotions, all of these blockages that were on my heart just started to get real clear, and I was so ready and willing to release them through my own personal embodiment practices and the tools that I have, which are all in the Dieta course, because you will most likely be prompted to have some emotional releases. That's part of the journey, right? If we want to create space for more unconditional love, we've got to gut the things that are in the way of the unconditional love. But then coming back to this heart space energy, when we're actively choosing to release the things that have been stored or stagnant in the body or on our heart specifically, it's much easier for us to live with that open heart, to love what is, to live more presently in our lives, to not find ourselves closing and contracting, instead being open and in love with our entire experience of life on planet Earth. So there's so much beauty, so much joy that's available to us, right, when we're living with an open heart. We can only ever come from two places, coming from fear or coming from love. And they have an array of different emotions or feelings or moods or lenses of which they look like. Like fear, coming from fear could be lack or scarcity, or anger, if you're feeling like you're very angry about something. Or there's love, which is joy, abundance, seeing the beauty in all things. What could be possible for you in your life if you just could live or chose to live from the space of an open heart all the time, right? Like, I know that that's part of the reason why I chose to embark on this dieta with Rose, not just because she was knocking hard, but because I truly have been so devoted to Zoey and her healing journey and everything that's like been on her heart and healing her heart. And I decided, like, my intention for my dieta itself was unconditional love, because I'm ready to love myself even more. I'm ready to cultivate a deeper relationship than ever before, get closer to my heart than ever before, and just create a sanctuary of unconditional love inside of myself. Because I know that when it comes to my desires or the things that I know will be in my future, which is divine union, partnership, and a family, right? These are my heart's desires. I trust that God, source, universe is gonna like have them unfold in their divine time. But it's like this devotion to myself, this devotion to my best friendship with me, getting really close to my own heart. I also devoted this dieta to my future Zoe and her partnership, future Zoe and her future family, right? It's like really tuning into how can I already create the space, creating the sanctuary of divine unconditional love in myself will then allow the ways in which divine unconditional love will begin to flow to me, and I'll be able to see it and recognize it, right? I'll be able to receive it from the universe in whatever way it wants to flow that to me, all the much more visibly and potently, and I'll be able to receive it because I am that. I've created the space for that in myself. So yeah, that's just what I feel called to share with you. And what's amazing is that through the dieta experience, I became aware of so many things that like I thought were like, let's say done or healed. Like I became very aware of a couple things that were under the radar for me in my healing journey that I was prompted to clear and create space for. One of those things was the abandonment wound. I had to take some time down in that abandonment wound, do some cleaning up, like scrubbing the floors, if you will, just getting rid of like some residual stuff that was there that I didn't even know was there. I also was prompted to release anger and rage, right? Big emotions, but better out than being in here, right? Because when we have stored, stuck, stagnant emotions from our past, those will manifest in the body in disease and ways. Those of you who have knowledge or understanding of metaphysical anatomy of how the body is always speaking to us, the body speaks to us through manifesting different things. If we hold on to things like anger, even if it's like in our subconscious, that will manifest in things such as cancer. And if we choose to release that from our bodies, if we choose to take acts of devotion to become, let's say, sanctuaries of unconditional love for ourselves and for our futures and for the people around us, our families, that's a beautiful act to take, because in healing yourself, you heal the whole world around you. And so I got the opportunity to just get real present with some anger and rage that was stored in there, right? I got to clean and clear that out. And let me tell you what's on the other side of releasing, let's say, the wounded places within us, like the tears that needed to be cried, the rage that needed to be felt and released, is this incredible amount of spaciousness. It's like this spaciousness, it's clarity, it's deeper levels of self-love. I also learned how to love myself more deeply through this, because certain emotions such as sadness, like depressiveness, let's say, like sort of feelings of being depressed, and anger, I learned how to love myself so much more deeply, because I realized that in ways I had unconsciously suppressed feeling those emotions because it reminded me of my mother. And I, you know, throughout my journey of like being a child and growing up, I always decided like not to do what my mom did, right? Not to feel sad, right? For the longest time, I spiritually bypassed a lot of those emotions because I didn't want to be like my mom. I didn't want to be turning into her or something, let's say. So I had a whole awareness journey, a whole processing around that, which was really liberating for me, because I got to love angry Zoe. I got to love sad Zoe. I got to love on Zoe in her abandonment wound to new levels. And like, none of this would have been possible without Rose. Like, when I say the consciousness that she integrated, honestly, like, very similar to Christ consciousness. It felt like I was literally downloading A Course in Miracles through this 2-week period of time that I was doing my Dieta experience. It was quite funny. Like, it was kind of amusing, because I'm like, I was getting all these downloads around like emotions, feeling them and feeling it to heal it. And then also the next piece was forgiveness work. Once I came to understand what was there for me, what was coming to the surface, who do I need to forgive, I started to download an understanding of how to unlock my heart further through forgiveness. Forgiveness creates a whole lot of spaciousness as well, let me tell you. Like, if there's anything that you desire in your life, and like, let's say you're trying to manifest something, ask yourself, who, if anyone, can I forgive today? Something will show up. I started asking myself every single day, I'm like, who do I need to forgive today in order to like create more clarity? And random people from my past started showing up, and I was like, wow, I had no idea I was still stuck on that. But Rose showed me the way to forgiveness. But anyways, back to like the consciousness of Rose. It's like she illuminated everything in me that needed to be released to become more of this sanctuary of unconditional love for myself. And I learned, and I, like, in those moments when I was feeling all kinds of ways, I was receiving these beautiful affirmations. Like, I love myself deeply, like, I love myself wholly, I love myself completely. And like, I was receiving these intuitive nudges almost that I believe were coming from Rose consciousness of how to hold myself, how to care for myself more in these moments. And I got closer to my own heart than I've ever been before, and that has remained. Like, I am so close to my heart more than I ever have been before, and it's the most magical and beautiful experience. And I just, like, I pray for each and every single one of you to like get as close as you can to your own heart, and let that just be a little message for you. Is the closer that you can get to your own heart, the more presence you'll feel in your life, and the more love you'll feel. You'll be very present to all of the love and the support that's available to you at all times. So anyways, back to kind of my Dieta, my ceremonial experience. There's a lot of emotional release, and then I moved into this chapter of forgiveness with Rose. And like I said, I really came to understand that forgiveness is the release of any expectations that you've ever placed on another or yourself. I had a lot of people to forgive, right? And I honestly, it got easier and easier and easier, and it got really fun for me. I'm like, who do I need to forgive today? How can I create more space today? It's just forgiven, feeling all of this beautiful heart space energy, all of this expansion, all this radiance. Like, I also can say that I became a next level magnetic through this process, and I feel like I am a next level magnetic right now. And I know that those rose codes are integrated and they're not going anywhere, so I'm just gonna continue on this journey of like magnetizing miracles and blessings to me and beautiful synchronicities, because that's all been a part of this. That's all been a part of the Rose Dieta, and integrating her into my being, into my heart, into my soul. And yeah, after the forgiveness chapter with Rose came a self-compassion chapter, where I really, because I got so aware of so much so quickly, let's say stored stagnant emotions, the old stories, the things that I still hadn't let go of, the resentment I carried towards people that I didn't even know and that I was like ready to let go of. With all of that awareness came some self-judgment, where I'm like, Zoe, I thought we were over this. Zoe, like, how is that still a thing? Like, how are we not aware of that for so long? And it can be easy to judge ourselves, but remember, ABC, always be curious. When we can transform judgment into curiosity, we're then in that space of openness versus being closed. We're then starting to open our heart versus being closed to our heart. So I learned all about self-compassion through Rose. And then came the time when the Dieta closed. And what that experience was like for me was, I literally, you know, my intention was to become the sanctuary of unconditional love. I had this day, if I can find, I took like a mirror selfie that day, because I had this smile that I could not wipe off my face. I was driving to this Italian restaurant that I fell in love with in Tulum, Canova Cantina. If you go to Tulum, go there. And I was driving there and I just had like all these downloads coming in all at once. And I had this huge epiphany where I realized that I was unconditional love. And I mean, of course, like logically I knew that we're all divine unconditional love at our source. But it like integrated into my body, it fully downloaded into my being, and I just like literally felt enlightened or something, you know? Like I had this like next level awakening of happiness and joy and just feeling so much love flow through me. And I went to this Italian restaurant and I had this smile on my face the whole time. Then I came back home and I was just like, for days, I just like had this huge smile on my face and was just feeling so much love flowing through my body. And I still can tap into that love. I still feel that love. Like I'm feeling it right now. But what I'm saying is that like it was this huge like shift and epiphany that really locked in my intention. And that night when I was sitting with Rose, I got the download like it's time to close the dieta, and that came from her because my ego popped in after and was like, I don't want to close it. We just tapped into something really divine here. I want to keep going. This is like a lot of fun. And the messages that I got was, it's time for you to close this with me. It's time for you to relay the messages to the people, to share about me, to share about the plants, and also integrate me before you go into the Amazon to meet Bob and Sana, to do a very traditional dieta with a master plan. So it was beautiful for what it was. My ego was resistant, but I closed the dieta experience and I've just been integrating. It's been a couple of weeks, but like I said, I'm still tapping into that divine love. I've still got this next level radiance and magnetism, and it's because of the rose codes, you guys. Like the thing is that nature, like nature is the truth. We can always come back to nature, and there's so much available to us. And not to mention, again, one more time, how accessible like it is to take part in a casual dieta just like Rose. So yeah, I am super grateful for my experience. I wanted to share with you guys, and if this is calling to you, I definitely recommend checking out my course called Opening Your Heart with Rose. And yeah, let me know, have you ever done a dieta? Would you ever do a dieta? Is Rose making her way to you? I love to hear from you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.